only need two readers, just to start with. Maddie, and then I saw Dell second. Genesis 4:1-5, and you'll be Genesis 4:6-9, Dell. But tonight we're going to be talking about like the effort we put into things and how it's always important that, especially when we're serving God, we put maximum effort into like what we're doing, and not just kind of like, I'm here, I'm doing it, you know, like, we need to put full effort into everything. And so Maddie, if you want to start.
Okay, 4:1-5?
Yep.
Okay. Now Adam had sexual relations with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant. When she gave birth to Cain, she said, "With the Lord's help, I have produced a man." Later she gave birth to his brother and named him Abel. When they grew up, Abel became a shepherd, while Cain cultivated the ground. When it was time for the harvest, Cain presented some of his crops as a gift to the Lord. Abel also brought a gift, the best of the firstborn lambs from his flock. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his gift. This made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected.
So what was the main difference between Cain's gift and Abel's gift? Besides like what it was. We know Abel offered a lamb, and Cain offered some of his crops, but what was the main difference? Carson?
Abel, isn't that like the person that offered crops? No, that was Cain. Cain offered some of his crops, but Abel, he offered his best sheep.
Yes.
So Cain, he just offered some crops that wasn't his best.
Exactly. So Cain just offered like what was convenient for him, pretty much, and Abel offered like the best lamb he had. So it's always important to kind of, again, give your best. So Cain became jealous because his offering was rejected by God while Abel's offering was accepted. Abel gave his best while Cain did not. With that being said, does Cain have a good reason to be mad? Because we know Cain got mad and looked dejected, which is pretty much looks mad. Easy answer, yes or no. Does Cain have a good reason to be mad? No. Do we sometimes act like Cain and get mad when we aren't being noticed for our work, even though our work isn't worth being noticed?
Yeah.
Why do we expect recognition for poor effort? Because we've all been there before, or we've all had like times where maybe we're just not like feeling it that day, you know, so we don't put all our effort in there, but we still want to be like noticed for it. So why do we expect attention and like recognition for our poor efforts? Del, what do you want to read yours?
Which one do
Genesis 4:6-9.
Why are you so angry? The Lord asked Cain. Why do you look so dejected? You will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you. But you must subdue it and be its master. One day Cain suggested to his brother, "Let's go out into the field." And while we are in the field, Cain attacked his brother, Abel, and killed him. After the Lord asked Cain, "Where is your brother? Where is Abel?" "I don't know," Cain responded. "Am I my brother's guardian?"
So in Cain's anger and jealousy, he killed his brother. And when asked by God about Abel, Cain lies to God and just pretends like, "I don't know what's going on, dude." And of course, he's lying, and God knows he's lying. So do we sometimes lie to God when we don't want to do things, especially when it's in service to Him? Do we lie when we don't want to do things like in general? What are some of the excuses we use when we don't want to do something?
That there's not enough time for it.
That's a good one.
Tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow. That's a good one.
I'm sick.
I'm too tired to do it.
Too tired, though. Said I'm sick. One is I'm too busy. That's one of the ones I wrote down. Another one that like I would say is my favorite to hear is I already do this. Like, I already do something else. And it's not, I find that whenever people say that, it's not that they don't have time to do the other thing, it's that they think they're almost like too good to do this other thing, or they're already doing this, so someone else needs to do that. Which, in some cases, yeah, that's true, but if you have time to do it, you should do it, you know? Like, what if God said that? Like, what if God was like, I already created them. They can save themselves. Like, what if God did that? We wouldn't be able to have a relationship with him, you know? We're going to read 10 through 16, and I'll get that one. But the Lord said, what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed and banished from the ground, which has swallowed your brother's blood. No longer will the ground yield good crops for you, no matter how hard you work. From now on you will be a homeless wanderer on the earth. Cain replied to the Lord, my punishment is too great for me to bear. You have banished me from the land and from your presence. You have made me a homeless wanderer. Anyone who finds me will kill me. The Lord replied, no, for I will give a sevenfold punishment to anyone who kills you. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain to warn anyone who might try to kill him. So Cain left for the Lord's presence and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. So we see that Cain was cursed and banished for not obeying God. And I guess I would think starting out, like, they didn't exactly have the tools to like hunt and like kill things like right away. So like with him not being able to cultivate and like have crops and stuff like that, he was just like foraging for whatever he could find to eat. So I mean, think about how hard that must have been. Like that was his punishment for not obeying God and lying to God. He just had to like go be away from everyone else, be away from his family, and he could never go back. God made sure we knew early on that we would be punished for not being faithful. So like when you're thinking of times like, well, do I really have to do this for God? Or do I really have to be at this thing or be at that? Especially when it's like church events or like stuff you've, I guess, volunteered for, stuff like that. You need to like follow through, be faithful, not just for like the people there, but for God. Because at the end of the day, you're serving God. You're not serving anyone else. And that's like one of the biggest things for me is I can always tell when people are doing it for themselves and not doing it for God. Well, I don't say always. Most of the time I can tell when people are doing it for themselves and not for God. And you can tell by like their actions and the effort they put into it. Because if they're doing it for God, they're going to do whatever they can to like make it how it needs to be and make it like the best that they can get it. But if they do it for themselves, they'll do it as long as it's convenient, as long as it's like easy for them to do it. So that's like one big thing you can pull from that. Can someone recite John 3:16 for me, please? Anyone?
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life.
Okay. So, while, yeah, God gave us his best, what else did God give us? It says it in the verse. God gave us his only son. It wasn't like God had a bunch of like kids. He was like, well, Jesus, it's your turn. Like, he gave us his only son. God gave us his only. He didn't have anything else to give us, so he gave us his son. He gave us everything. Yet sometimes we refuse to even try to give him our best because we would rather do something more fun, and we'd rather be selfish with our time and act like we're too busy or too good to put the full effort into God's word. So like, what's one way, and you can answer this, you don't have to if you don't want to, but like what's one way right now you can either put more effort into something you're already doing or do something else for God? Jerry, what's one way you can do something more for God?
Something more for God?
Yeah, what's something you can do for God like that you're not doing now?
What?
What's something you can do for God that you're not doing now? It's easy. Like, it's easy to do things for God. We always try and like, oh my God.
I think I could pray more because I tend, like everybody else, like I tend to pray when it's convenient more than every time, like every day. So
That's really good. That's kind of like where I was going with that, or was what I was saying. We tend to like overthink things when we're doing things for God. Like we always think about big actions that we can do, when at the end of the day, God just wants a relationship with us. So like Warren was saying, like prayer is really important. Prayer and Bible study every day is like how we can be closer to God and like have a relationship with Him. So I think that's one thing we need to like prioritize in our lives. And again, that's like part of putting your effort into God. And I kind of experienced this at camp a lot when I was working there. The more you're like devoting yourself to God, the easier it is to like keep doing that and like keep serving Him, and you'll find more ways to serve Him as you're like trying to be near to Him. Like youth praise, like Jaden, you came back and you started leading worship, and that's like really cool. And you pick that up at camp and figured like, hey, this is something I can do to serve God. So there's places where all of us can serve God. I guess I'll just ask this last question and then I'm done. I'll just leave you with a question. You don't have to answer it. If God gave everything for us, why can't we at the very least give our best for Him?